Hello, my name is Ilona from Ware Kracht, which means true power in Dutch. I'm going to continue the major Arcana cards, and this time I will explain the Devil, the Tower, and the Star. And these two look a little terrifying because they're so dark. But I'm going to start with the Devil. And I understand when people hear the devil, that's something to be frightened of and something to, it sounds terrifying, the devil's card. Something awful is going to happen, and maybe even people will think that they are awful people for getting this card in their reading. But really, it just means it. Of course, the devil it stands for a lot of things. And as you can see, there are two people. They're naked, just like the Lover's card, who also had two people naked. But in that card, the middle has had an angel in between, and now there's obviously a devil sitting there. And you see, they have chains around their neck. There's fire. It's very dark. It has a little bit something demonic if you look at it, but it really means the devil ultimately means it's about your own shadow. What are your fears? What are your dependencies? How are you dependent on things outside of yourself? What are the things that you change yourself to? So it could be people, could be addictions, it could be fears, it could be, well, you could be a workaholic, you could be afraid of feeling, so you're always in control, you're very rational. Could be that you're afraid of, it can be all kinds of things. This card stands for deep fears, deep pain in ourselves, and the mechanisms we use to deal with that pain. So addictions, numbing ourselves. So when you get this card in a card reading, it usually means that this person will have to look at what they really are terrified of. If it's in a certain situation like relationships, or if the card reading is about dealing with things at work, really, what are you afraid of? What are you running away from? And usually it means a toxic relationship. It could be a job that's not really good for them and they need to let go of it, but they're afraid to let go of it. So it really brings out the biggest fears in people. What are you afraid of? What is something you do not want to see, or you chain yourself to? What are the things that are difficult to deal with? This card stands for looking at that. So it's a difficult card. So when you get this card, it's mostly a moment to really look at yourself, become conscious of what it is you're holding on to and you should really let go of, and what the fear is behind that. What is the pattern that keeps repeating itself? So in a card reading, this person really have to look within. And it depends on the subject they ask about, in a relationship or in work or family or whatever. It's really important that they look at themselves and look at what they're holding on to. So in a relationship card reading, when you have a card, between two people, usually this means, well, it's not a good sign. It could mean that there's a deep sexual attraction, but that's it. Could mean there's a toxic situation going on between people, that they are codependent. Could mean that one of them has an addiction and the other one is enabling the other person, or codependent, because usually when you're in a relationship and one of them has an addiction, it affects the other person as well. There is always a toxic dependency going on, otherwise you wouldn't tolerate someone that is addicted in your life. So this card comes up. It could also mean that a person is not true, is cheating on you, is really bringing out the worst in you. It could mean a lot of things. So it depends on the card. It depends on how you feel about the card, what comes up. If you're reading your card reading and this card comes up, what is the first thing you think about? Usually follow your intuition. Look at the other cards And if you feel like this person is not reliable, is not telling the truth, this person could be addicted. There are a lot of things. This card stands for the worst things in ourselves and in the other person. So in a relationship, it means watch out. It's like a huge red flag when you get this card. So could also mean that you could work out things, but in that case, both will have to work on it. And this is a lot of work. That's what this card stands for. So not everyone is ready to tackle those things. Okay, this is number 15. I will continue with number 16, which is the tower. As you can see, there's a tower with thunder hitting the tower. Two people are falling. One is falling forward, one is kind of surrendering themselves, and it usually means, the tower, that something that doesn't fit in your life anymore, something that's built on a house of cards, kind of collapses. So if you were very secure in your job, for instance, or something like a relationship, and suddenly it's gone, it just exploded or imploded, and you're like, what happened? Something you were secure about or something you were depending on suddenly falls away. It's just gone. It's very important to understand that that happens, and that person or that job or whatever it is wasn't good for you. That's what this card stands for. So the things that are falling away, that are not in your life anymore, or maybe it's still happening, it means that it's important to let go. It was something you were reliant on, but it wasn't good for you. It's like the first card before this. So when you're starting to see the patterns, when you start seeing what's keeping you chained in this, this is the card following that, means you have to let go of it. And this card usually means that it's happening without your saying in it. So it's suddenly something radical happens. So your life is like upside down or in chaos. When you get this card in a card reading, this usually means that someone is in a chaotic state at that time, or chaotic energies are surrounding them, or they their coming time will be, the near future will be chaotic, and things will be happening that could be quite shocking. So this could be like a shockwave through your life. In a relationship card reading, so when you're reading cards for two people and what kind of relationship they have, it could be a friendship, could be a lover's relationship, it could be all kinds of relationship. When this card usually turns up, it's not a good thing. So this relationship could be built on something that's really not that strong. It could be for just the outside world, you want some things that look good, but in the inside it doesn't fit. So it's usually just something, just for the neighbors, look how nice and pretty we all look, but in reality the connection isn't there. It could also mean that something drastic happened in the life of the person where this card stands for. So if you're for two people and this card shows up with one of the person, the persons you are. Sometimes it's exhausting. This is not my first language. So I sometimes have to, what's my point, what I'm trying to get across. And in this case, could mean that if this card is for a person in a relationship reading, this person is very chaotic, something happened that shocked them, so they're still trying to, get out of it, or they need time. So it could mean that it will take some time before a real connection can be made. In worst case scenarios, this person is not reliable, and it could take a lot from you to continue the relationship or the friendship, or in whatever relationship you're in. So that's what this card is, and we're going to continue with number 17. So after two quite dark cards, this is a very bright, a star, a woman who has a foot just like the Temperance card, one in the water and one on the land. She's pouring two cans with water, and you can just see it as a very positive card. It's yellow, blue, green, when you look at it, it makes you smile, and that's what this card stands for. So after all the different difficult times, after, you know, the last two cards, this card shows a bright future. You know, there's a new hope. You can follow your star. You can believe that new times are coming to you, and you'll be very happy with it. There's positivity and on the horizon. So when this card shows up, it's a very good sign that the worst is behind the person, and that they can look to a bright future ahead of them. So things are looking up. And in a relationship card, this is a very good card. If it's like a theme between two people, it means that they inspire each other, they bring out the best in each other. So it's a very uplifting card. If this card is for a person in the card reading, it means this person is very open, is optimistic, is finally coming out of their shell. It in a positive way. This is a very positive card. So this person is usually just very open to things. It can be negative, but it depends on the other cards. In that case, the person could be a bit naive, or or it looks like something is better than it actually is. But that's very rare, and usually this card is very positive. And I personally always, most of the time, interpret it as very positive. So this is the last card of the for this video. I will continue with the next 3 cards, and I hope to see you in that video. Bye!